It's on.
It's on. Sunset Talk. So yeah, I wanted to make a video about Tantra and living a tantric lifestyle. For those who don't know, because I get a lot of questions about it. I guess you could introduce yourself.
The name that can be named is not the eternal name. No.
This is my brother, everybody.
I'm Talor on YouTube. Talore.
So what is Tantra for somebody who has no idea what it is? Like somebody who's just hearing this word.
It's just being conscientious of I guess certain rhythms in the body and being aware of releasing seed or not, sperm. Cultivating that energy upward before release or not releasing at all. Some people, they have black and white tantra. Some people say one is for releasing sometimes and the other one is for never releasing. I'm a fan of never releasing, unless you really want to have a child. That's kind of where I am as far as my lifestyle personally. But people, I guess, they're going to do whatever they want to do, obviously.
yeah. Is it a religion?
No, it's more so a lifestyle. But yeah, I mean, as far as sex itself, the emphasis of sex, it has I guess since it's highlighted more so because it's so different than I guess a typical approach. Like you get this whole lifestyle where people be like, but what about this sex part being different? It could be all these other things. But
that's what I was gonna say. Is it just about sex?
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's definitely
I feel like sex is maybe the last thing. Really.
Yeah, it's just like cherry on top.
Yeah.
It's a holistic way of living, I guess you could say, to where you never really stray from the universal perspective of everything being you. So the way you interact with things is the way you interact with yourself. I guess with the whole tantric living and tantric sex, it's just like really respecting yourself in a different way.
Is semen retention the same as ejaculation?
I mean, when you're towing the line with ejaculation and everything, I still feel like you're getting a lot of heat building up in the root that you're gonna have to cycle back up, and you might have some pains through that process. But I don't know. I just feel like no jing is lost when you just don't. It's just knowing that each act of sex is it requires a certain kind of breath rhythm.
Yeah. So
as long as you just go into it on top of your breath, and you're aware of the breathing that is in accord with what you are trying to do, and you don't have anything obstructing your rectum, pushing on your prostate, no food there, you can feel the craniosacral rhythm. It's just a totally different perspective because you're just feeling more. So then you can feel this is just energy's going up, it's reaching its peak or whatever it is, and then you just charge up and walk away from the situation in a sense, because there's no point in desensitizing yourself to sex.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what happens. That is what happens.
Yeah. When there's pressure on the rectum, that throws everything off.
It's just a lot more heat down there, a lot more pressure on your prostate. It just makes it easier to release because there's just more pressure, more heat, more pressure.
From just gunky foods.
Yeah, just inflammatory foods swelling that area. Prostate's just swelling and getting pressed up against, making you all hypersexual, and then it's just not, the blood's not circulating up. It's not going to the upper echelons.
Yeah.
The way it should.
I think most people realize too, whenever you are in that carnal mode of eating something out of just desire, it then leads to all kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
You eat a cheeseburger and then suddenly you texting your ex or something crazy.
Your thoughts just shift. Yeah. It just comes with that, right?
Yeah. When did you discover this lifestyle, or how long have you been living it?
I didn't really know when I was a teenager. I never really got comfortable enough to release to start in my sexual career, whatever. So I never really I never got comfortable enough to just release.
Yeah.
I was pretty much I don't know, for some reason it always just felt nah. I'd rather I find pleasure in pleasing, and I'd rather just not. It just felt almost like I win if I don't. So that's kind of how I played it. It was crazy, I guess that was just an innate way I played it.
Yeah.
And then I got married, and then it was somebody was entitled to my sexual organs, and then I was all right, now I can't do this no more. So then I found out what that was called.
Oh, okay, but you were already doing it.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I guess just came through lifetimes. I don't know.
What about wet dreams and all that kind of stuff?
I never personally had them, but I really just feel it's because, I don't know, I guess personally I'm not that gone off of sex to where I just want sex for those reasons, really. It's nice, when you have physical addition on top of the other connection.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to look at that. I feel since I'm not just gone off it, and that's not my prerogative, I'm I'm not really having sexual dreams that. You know what I mean? It'll happen here and there, but it's not
so your energy's not really.
Yeah, people would tell me that they be having monthly wet dreams, or they go so long and then eventually they have wet dreams. I'm just like, man, you just super hypersexualized or something, man. Like you need to like explore.
Like creative pursuits.
Yeah,
You
that
think? Like,
that for sure.
just
But
direct it differently.
yeah, I mean, I just feel like I had my fill of sexual experiences, my sexual encounters. I feel like now I want something more, I guess, more fulfilling.
Yeah.
That involves it, but it's not like how it was before. And I mean, even then, I didn't have no. Even when I was like, I guess, lusting after that or having that in my life, I still didn't have wet dreams. It just was like just something that I just feel like if you just bring the blood upward, you know, some people are just more active, and I think a lot of active people. I don't know. If
You were really active though.
that's what I'm saying though. As far as like, those are the people that are not having wet dreams. I think
Oh yeah.
people that was
Just,
probably
like,
more active
very
as children.
Physical body, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I would that's what I would gamble. You know, I don't know if that's true. You know what I mean? I just feel like for sure that you wake up with less erections if you eat differently. You can get to a point where you have none because you're just like, I'm not really like, you know, so thirsty for this, and to where I'm just thinking about it when I'm in my subconscious. You know, it's
Right.
not. And then
It always kind of seemed like,
no rectal pressure.
yeah, I don't know. Something about it didn't seem like natural. I know a lot of people say wet dreams are just like the release or something, you know, the natural release or the build-up release. But yeah, something about it always seemed like, really?
I haven't released in years now. No part of my body wants to do
There's
that.
no desire, yeah.
Yeah.
Has that made it like interesting to find a mate, or how has that been?
I mean,
'Cause I can see that instilling like insecurity in a female.
Yeah, it creates insecurity sometimes, but I feel like a lot of times, like for me, I guess supply that situation, and then when I remove myself, it'd be like a crazy void because like a lot of other dudes, it's just terrible. So like to go back to that is kind of like scary, I think. So I feel like a lot of people, a lot of females, I mean, like they kind of made me the enemy once I was like removing myself. But if I was like any other guy, it would be like, oh, whatever, fuck you, move on. But since like I was like emotionally present and tantric, you know what I mean? It was just different. Like, so they'd be like, how dare you? And I'm just like, this is just the way I do it. That doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the way I do it. You know what I mean? It's just like if anybody does it another way, like, that's just the way they do it. You know, because that's the funny thing about sex. Like, you know, you have to like really allow yourself to enjoy the sex, and then like, on top of it, it's like you still, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's still like you giving yourself, I guess, this experience. So like, I mean, as far as it being you, I mean, like you, the object of it or whatever it is, it's like pretty, you know, it's not like it's rocket science. And so it's like you're gonna do what you do. Like, I'm not gonna just start doing wild shit sexually. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm just getting better or worse at what I do.
Yeah, but you're always gonna do
what you do, you know?
yeah. What does it say about a female who like wants a man to ejaculate? Listen, I'm just checking if this is on.
She just got addicted to having that energy, and dudes were giving it to her, and then you withdraw that energy, and it's like creates a certain hunger, just like when any energy gets withdrawn. It's like a certain detox that has to happen as you like become self-sustainable in that energy. You know, you're not living off of somebody else's energy like that. It's just destructive for your partner, and having that destruction close, you know, taking on corrosive energy like that, just to not cultivate it yourself. Because if you cultivated it yourself, you wouldn't really want that.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, to take somebody else's and you're going to destroy them right while y'all close like that, it's going to lead to something. Like, it's going to create a lot of subconscious behaviors and arguments and shit like that. Relationships going to get drained. So I don't, you know what I mean? It don't make no sense. You know, the dude can't operate the same. What would you rather have? You know, a sexually lobotomized guy, or somebody that is aware of this and, you know, wants to be better for themselves, to be better with you?
Because, like, what ultimately, for those who don't know, like, what ultimately happens when you spill the seed? I mean, I know it's a lot of things.
It's like it's literally like splitting the multiverse. It really is like splitting the universe, like poking a hole in your energy and fragmenting you and creating this whole other, like, split. Because the energy was supposed to create a whole...
it was wasted.
It was supposed to create a whole nother parallel that you could go into. Like, you know, if you have a child consciously or whatever, and you create the trajectory that they have a child consciously, when you're going in your dreams, you can be in the further lifetimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you created that trajectory. Now, if you just like release one unconsciously, that trajectory take you anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, so you be dreaming and being in this trajectory of anything side path that's like that has no roots at all.
Yeah.
And it's just like that energy has to spoil and die totally before it comes back. They don't even be letting the energy fully come back. They just be releasing again and just like split it again, split it again.
You just get further and further away from source, I guess.
Yeah, you just operating at an animal level.
Ultimately, I feel like it probably gives birth to something else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a child wasn't made, so then
something
else is created.
And then you just not having the energy for certain things. It don't put you in the places that you would have been put in, and you don't seize those moments or whatever, and then life just like crumbles in like some way because the way you're not living your potential.
Yeah.
It like fucks with the whole, I guess atmosphere, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So
Because I mean, people are used to having sex and passing out, totally depleted of energy.
Yeah, it's not like a complimentary thing. Like, hey, we just charged energies.
Yeah.
Now let's go in and seize the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, different.
Let's be total nocturnal.
Yeah.
Reptiles. Yeah.
And just pass out, and then who knows what's happening to our bodies until we get back to them.
Yeah.
As we take enough breaths. Because you pass out and you're taking bitch-ass breaths. And it takes you so much longer to get back into your body fully. Yeah. And it's like, what was going on in that time, during that time?
Yeah, total animalistic. What about females? Can they practice any form of this lifestyle?
I think definitely anybody having sex should do breath work before the sex so they can feel it more fully and remain in that moment so that it's just easier to just be real about that moment. You know what I mean? Like if you can really stay present in your whole body and stay on top of your breathing, you can feel everything. And if it's nothing to be felt, it's just like this has got to stop. You know?
Yeah.
Like so.
You move with more awareness rather than like thinking.
Yeah, like the friction of skin is not gonna outwin. It's not gonna it's not gonna beat out like a true connection of like cultivating energies and transforming energy. So it's like. Because
for a female, if she loses a lot of chi, because I mean she can technically lose chi.
She's losing jing every time. She's losing all that kidney chi and losing jing. You know what I mean? Just mad life force energy, and just flowing out in the creative and the money power. You know what I mean? That money center.
The lower back.
Yeah, you're releasing all that kidney chi, and the lower back is just not as strong, and then the finances, like you just don't have the energy to even like really do what you're supposed to be doing with that.
So for like, is there? I guess just like keep it to a limit as far as women.
I think everybody should experiment with it and really do breath work every time they have sex before they have sex.
Yeah.
And then go long periods.
Rhythm with the breath.
Yeah, and go long periods. And you just gotta have like no ego, man, to breathe from your diaphragm fully. You know what I mean? People be tense. I just remember being like 16, being tense, like rigid in sex.
Yeah.
So I know people that like never really like evolved to different stages of sex. Like they're still rigid and like tight and all bound up. You know what I mean? They might not look like how they look, so they be like clenching. But you gotta breathe from your diaphragm. It is way more important that you breathe from your diaphragm than you look a certain way for like two. You know what I mean? You're worried about looking a certain way.
If there's really connection, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You would say like you can't have tantric sex without breath work.
No, it'd just be a lot harder, man. Like you're just gonna want more and more sex, and if you're not cycling the blood upward, then you just want more, and it's just gonna get harder and harder to not release because you're not bringing the blood up, and it's just continuing the well.
What would you say like the benefits are?
Yeah, like I mean, increased vitality in all ways. You want different things out of life. You don't want to just like have physical carnal relations and carnal connections and surface level stuff. It's all that stuff kind of gets thrown to the wayside in a sense. It gotta really mean something, and you just have more energy to advance in your life as the years go on. It's just easier and easier to be away from the matrix. Like I'm just thinking with like a greater clarity. Where it just shows me like, okay, they're operating like this. I know how to take this step in advance.
Especially with the masses like just wasting the seed.
Just constantly.
All the time. Was it any like weirdness, I guess? I mean, I guess not, but like as far as your friends or other males?
Yeah, because you can't just be like, yo, because when you tantric, you don't get none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't get none of that.
Like, did you ever have like, I don't know, do y'all ever talk about it and then it's like...
They be like, what? No, and then I like break it down to them and take a while to really like get it across.
Yeah.
They're like, I really care about you, so I'm telling you about this. So like...
Do you find them transition or they're just like, man, I could never?
Most don't,
Because I feel like that's the one thing men, like, they'll change maybe diet or all this other stuff, but like that, you know what I'm saying, take that away, it's like taking everything from them.
Yeah, I feel like most don't, most won't change. And then like they'll probably have to have a kid unconsciously or like get into some bad situation before they think about changing, you know, which is a shame, but it is what it is. And I was gonna say too, like with men eating trash and then wanting to come, and then women eating trash and then having heavy period flows and having them moody ass cycles to where they be like hypersexualized at different periods of the cycle. It creates this whole other conundrum too, like as far as like expectance of energy and like losing energy, gaining, and like raping each other throughout that whole period. It's crazy.
Because ultimately, like, yeah, it's a lot of like just masturbation with another person.
I'm comfortable enough to have you here.
yeah. It's really
appreciate that.
It's really not okay. Can you practice it with masturbation?
I mean, like, it's basically like edging. I think, you know, it's, to me, it's no point.
Because you're still putting blood in that root.
Yeah, you're like bringing blood to the roots for like no reason when you could like, and like, you know, it's not the same as like a female doing it. So like, you know, if you were just not to do that, when you do run into a female, it's like, oh, I feel this way more. You know, I'm present in my feelings. I'm not gonna fucking pop, and you know, it's like people just be like, I'm in my thoughts.
Yeah.
And at the same time,
because I know men that practice that like a lot, and they say that that's part of their tantric lifestyle. But I feel like that's still very carnal. So it'd be like
touching yourself.
Yeah.
I don't see a point.
A lot of desire in that.
Just get a female to do it if you really want that done. And if you can't, then you know you need to grow up, man. You need to like really grow up. You know what I'm saying? Touching yourself. You doing?
Like something like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Might as well just wait. Because I'm telling you, as you build the energy, then you just meet more of the opposite sex anyway.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, do you think you've attracted more, like, with this lifestyle, more females that are, like, open to it?
Yeah, for sure, you know.
Because, like, the people in the past, I'm sure if you were living this, they'd be like, what?
Yeah, and then I just feel like it's like a pheromone thing. Like if you have sex with a bunch of partners and then you just go around and, like, you exude that. And then like they'd be knowing that, and then like chicks would be like subconsciously like feeling that there's power there, so they come with that, they go with that energy.
Yeah.
And then it just like keeps going. And you just keep having sex, and then you just be like, all right, now I need to respect this a lot more. This is disgusting. It's wild how people just want what's bad for them. Like it's like heroin addicts want heroin. If that comes off your body as a male, like where you're just like, yeah, I really, you know, sex is not really about me, and I can dominate the situation sexually. You know what I mean? Because y'all are not doing breath work. This is just not even fair. It's really starting to feel. That's what it feels like. You be like, man, this is like throwing grenades in the barrel. You know what I mean? That's not fish in the barrel. It's throwing grenades. That's shooting them. You throwing a grenade in the barrel.
Yeah.
You're like, man, this is not fair, man. Like, it's like LeBron playing Little League kids or something. You know what I mean? And like, you just like, I got to meet somebody that's into this as well. You can, I guess, like, help somebody cultivate their shit, get it up. But like, if they're not already on that momentum, it's hard. You be like, man, I don't feel like teaching. You ain't never gonna get ahead. It's like when you're in debt and you just never get ahead.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you catching them up, like, you know, how are you gonna get ahead? Yeah.
You got this backpack on.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of what it does for you, where you're like, yo, it gotta be a really specific thing. Like, I don't have no expectations about how the person is gonna be or whatever, but if they're not on this shit, it's not even gonna feel right. It's just, after you've experienced it, like, you be like, oh man, this is more how this shit should feel.
I feel like it's more of an experience than an activity.
Yeah, and then it's like, it's natural drugs. And like, because for real, mad chicks told me like, yo, when I close my eyes, you know what I mean, my shit be all lit up. And I'd be like, damn, I'm about to start doing that, closing my eyes in the middle of it. It really is psychedelic, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you breathe in.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're breathing.
Yeah, and yo, it's psychedelic supposedly. I just don't be closing my eyes like that. You experience it way more fully, and then like, it's just no going back, man. You know what I mean? It's just no going back after you have a certain experience of it, and you know it exists that way. Any other way is silly.
You can't like not know that.
Yeah, and it makes it obvious who is really like fuck withable. Like, you know what I mean? It's not.
That's what I was saying, like about a female who's like not about it.
It's just so obvious, like, oh, you're a little vamp. You have a vamp.
That's what I was gonna say. She's a vamp at that point. She just wants the life energy.
That's the thing, is that people have vamps. Like, you're looking at like this body that is being eaten, and it has, you know what I mean? It's trying to leech. That, you know what I mean? That parasite's trying to leech.
Yeah. And
draw you in, and they don't even really know. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the people that know is doing breath work. You know what I mean? And there's 10 of us.
Right.
So, like, I just feel like it brought it to a point where I'm like, oh man, these are the chicks that I could potentially, if I ever had a child with, that's the only energy I can really interact with. Anything else, I don't even want to interact with that energy. Not that I necessarily have to have a child, but it just needs to be like that, because it don't even feel innocent another way. Like, I'm not taking this shit serious. I'm being abusive about being able to do this. It's not in any way like
it's not being
challenging.
Respected. Yeah.
It's a challenging thing when the energy is higher like that. and it just makes it way more like you need to be on your shit. Slip up. If you smoke or eat something you shouldn't, you're gonna fuck up. Mess around, release the seed, ruin this whole relationship.
Yeah, right? Everything go down.
Yeah, so it forces you to be like just that much better. Like once you connected from that level, I feel like.
Yeah.
So it gotta be like that now. It gotta be on like that level, and that's kind of like the rough part where you're just like, man, less is more. This way too.
yeah. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
I gotta accept this because it just doesn't feel good. Like it just feels like dirty. You know what I mean? It feels like wrong.
Yeah.
When you're evolved and you have sex with someone that's not evolved, it's like you're an ancestor to them. This is wrong.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing it. People think they're signing up for one thing sexually, and you're just like, nope. You know what I'm saying? Like,
plot twist.
Yeah, you know, and so it's like it's kind of fucked up because you know that you're gonna be like that. They don't know.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna say, do you think you have a conversation usually, or is this more of like a look? This is what's gonna happen.
I usually have a conversation about it, and I just so heavily doubt it because dudes are terrible, and their priority is to have fleeting satisfaction. So, like, since that's not my MO, like I'm like, hey, you know, when this happens, this is how I'm gonna play. This is how I play. They're like, yeah. I'm like, no, seriously, look.
Like, I'm really not gonna do that.
Yeah, don't. That's not gonna happen. And then I feel like they take it as a challenge.
I was gonna say, do women take that as a challenge?
Yeah, and I just be like, look, don't let the pride in your vagina get you caught up in something stupid right now. Like this is stupid. Like it's not about you. It's about you, but it's not about you.
Right.
Because that definitely happens more often than not. They just be
I
like,
can see that.
they just be like, well, then we got to do it just to see. And then it happens.
Yeah. The intentions are all off.
Yeah, and then it happens, and then they be like, we need to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like because you don't even like winning. You just don't like losing. Like,
yeah, that's so lame.
And to you, it's not. It's like, how's this a loss? Like, isn't this what you wanted? Now I'm a bad guy because I'm removing myself.
Would you say that celibacy is the same as this lifestyle?
Nah, but I don't say that. It's not that I'm not sexual and wouldn't open the door for sexuality, but it's just like being very picky, being extremely picky. The more you go into it, at first it's like, this is like unlocking a cheat code, and then you're like, it's not fair if everybody don't know the cheat code.
Yeah, I feel like celibacy comes with more like of a restriction.
Yeah.
Versus Tantra is more like no desire.
Yeah.
It's effortless.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a resistance.
If you're really compelled to do this, the energy's there, then you do it.
Yeah.
And you'll be protected in it that way.
And the more you do breath work, the desires just kind of die anyway, right? I mean, you don't have like a need to spill.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You'd rather, if you were going to do that, you'd rather have that whole experience that comes with that.
Right. What advice would you give somebody that is trying to get into this lifestyle, or a couple, or whoever?
It's really just going to boil down to respect, you know what I mean? And respecting each other through the process. Knowing when to stop, you know what I mean? Not living in your imagination of what you're feeling or like anything like that. Like really being present with the person and being present with your breath and totally accepting the situation. And then your body kind of can relax into it. The rest of the body's relaxed, then the member can be at its hardest. So then it's like relaxation creates the firmness. It's crazy how if the rest of your body's relaxed, you can just be like, there's no clenching anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like so much easier to control it.
Yeah.
But if you have like tension somewhere else,
it's like gets moved.
Yeah, the blood is like getting locked up there.
Yeah.
People knowing when to stop and not getting ahead of themselves, and
practicing the breath.
Yeah, the breath and respecting the whole thing. It's just a different level of respect.
Cool. Well, anything else you want to add? 2020 Tantra, you actually have a book.
Yeah, 2020 Tantra, yep, that's it. And Crown Tantra.
And Crown Tantra.
Giddy up. Let's go. Gather round trees, nice, hit the peace pipe. Respect the land. We are ancient, go where you ain't been. Far and wide, all places I made.